Hi, I'm Ember Johnson. I just finished 2 books on prophecy. 8 plus splashes the journey of how I learned about prophecy, all the ups and downs, all the drama. But after 30 years of learning, I finally wrote 10 things on prophecy that God asked me to write. He asked me to write it. It took me about 18 years more to be able to write 10 things on prophecy that actually is meaningful and not man's ideas. I don't like man's ideas. I was trained very highly in man's way. I have a PhD, I'm a lawyer, and I was a university professor. And it's. I'm not saying it's rubbish, but Paul said it's rubbish, right? It's the Spirit's wisdom that is the key. And he doesn't think like us. You can have a PhD and go to hell, and people do. So what good is it? So get a PhD, great, but that's not going to help you to excel in God's kingdom or in God's service. God's ways are not our ways. So it took me many years is to be able to share God's ways, as I could discern man's ways, and then, okay, but what's the answer? There's God's ways. It took me many, many years. So I hope this book is going to be a blessing to you. I forget, this could be the 5th video, and I want to just start with the idea that, prophecy is contagious. I'm still discussing the first chapter of this book. The chapter is called You Don't Need a Gift to Prophesy. Don't need a gift to hear God's voice. And what I say is that there's 3 main areas that people are hearing God in or through. So the first one is that you can hear God in your own heart if you just quiet yourself down and listen. He lives in your heart, doesn't he? Is it just a doctrine? Something you just write on a Christmas card? Is it real or not? If the Holy Spirit lives in your heart, then where do you have to go to talk to him, to hear him? He's right here. So the problem isn't location. No, it's that you just won't turn down the noise. It's your distraction. You are watching too much garbage, too much Facebook flipping, too much noise. Even playing worship music. You're singing the lyrics, and God's trying to talk to you. Now I'm singing the lyrics, and the lyrics are great. It rhymes so nicely, and we like grace, and like your face, and like the whole time it's distracting you from hearing God talk to you. So instrumental music is a bit better sometimes, or sometimes just turn it off. I like to have music in the background. Gets the noise, keeps me in a kind of bubble. Get that noise. I'm in a very noisy environment. But you don't need music. You don't need anything. Just be quiet. Jesus told me that everyone can hear his voice for themselves in their own heart if they would just quiet themselves down and listen. So this is the first area. I call this communion. I won't talk about that right now. It's such a big topic. The book that I'm going to rewrite right now is called Foundations of the Kingdom. And one of those chapters is hearing God's voice in what I call communion. But Jesus says, I don't call it that. I just call it having fellowship. So look on our website for communion, not the food ceremony, not the Lord's Supper, not a ceremony, but the actual fellowship of your spirit and the Holy Spirit into a dialogue. The next area where people are interacting with the Holy Spirit for communication is the realm of gifting. And seek the gifts. Just ask for it. And ask people, did you ask do you want the gift? Yeah, I want the gift. Did you ask God for it? And they say, oh, I never thought of that. And then one guy will say, like, did you ask God for the gift? Yeah, I asked God for the gift. He didn't give it to me. When did you ask? 10 years ago, one time. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not sure about the Greek, how you write in English, eagerly desire, but I think it means more than never asking God for it, or asking God for it one time 10 years ago, never bringing it up again. Eagerly desire is like pestering God. God, come on, give me the thing. I want the thing. He got the thing. I want the thing. Give me the thing. Come on, God, the thing. Come on. Oh, give me the thing. That's the attitude of the person who receives from God a lot more than, never mind, you don't even know, forget it. You don't want, never. The orphan mindset, like people are like an orphan of God. Like they get hurt and they lick their own wounds. They take care of themselves. They earn their own money. They earn their own career, and they dictate themselves. This is the flesh's corruption. This is the curse. Actually, a child of God gets a paper cut so tiny you can barely say, "Oh God, look at my paper cut. God, heal me!" Right? The child of God, God, give me the toy. I want the toy. It's expensive. I don't care. Give me the toy. It costs a lot of money. You got the money. Give me the toy. How a child thinks. They don't care about how much things earn and cost, and they don't care about how small their wound is, how small their cut is. They come to you and they want you to kiss it and make it better. The mentality of a child is the right model of faith. And concerning spiritual gifts, people who just don't ask God for anything, that's not the right model. People who are all intellectual about it, that's not going to help you. Understand it is great, but you can understand it and get nowhere because it's the heart through which we receive it, not the mind through which we understand it. And what does Paul say in 1 Corinthians 8, 1-3? We all have knowledge. Knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. If any man thinks he knows as he ought to know, he does not know as he ought to know. But if any man loves God, then God knows him. And so knowledge is a I don't want to say it's a two-edged sword. Knowledge is important. It's beautiful. God will give it to us. We need to seek it. But really, I mean, that's not where we're going to get the breakthrough. It's in intimacy. It's in fellowship. It's going to be in even this knowledge, right? In Ephesians, I'm reading Ephesians, I'm getting the prayers of the apostle and how Paul is saying, I'm praying for you, that the eyes of your heart will be enlightened so you know the inheritance of God, that you'd be rooted and grounded in love, and that all the saints, that you would have, you would know the love of Christ, the height and width and depth and breadth of the love of Christ, and to know it beyond knowledge. And I'm following it, I'm getting it, and finally get to that part, to know it beyond knowledge. I said, God, just stop. How can I know beyond knowing? How can I know beyond, what's beyond knowledge? It's easy, he said. Beyond knowledge is experience. So what's lacking is the experience of the Holy Spirit. It's the experience of God. If you don't experience God, you never will know him, he told me. You only know him through the experience of him. It's not reserved for only a few weirdos, the prophets, these crazy, strange people. No, it's for anyone who will seek to have fellowship with him in their heart. This is the big key that people are just plain missing. But God told me he's going to now pour out that experience over across the whole earth. Now, that's kind of one of the biggest keys of the kingdom God's ever told me. I also want to mention this, that prophecy is contagious. You may not prophesy in your house, the TV, the video, the YouTube's on, but you go to church, and just being there, you may begin to hear God's voice clearly. Now, why is that? Well, let's just say it's like this. It's contagious. I know a guy from England, in Hong Kong, prophesying. I walked near him. I began getting visions. I prayed for him one time because I thought he's going to give a sermon, so I'm going to back him up. And I got near him in the prayer group, and suddenly I had a vision of God's hand, and on his hand, I can show the video of his hand, and it were pillars and a crown. It was very beautiful. I'm like, well, that's a random vision. I'm praying for him. As I got near him, I saw where he was in the spirit. He was in a heavenly council, and I went there, and it terrified me. I saw him there in a round chamber with arches and circles, and he was out in the middle discussing his sermon with saints. And a couple of angels, mostly it was saints. And I thought, oh my gosh, he doesn't need me to back up in prayer. And I saw myself in the hallway, and oh no, they can see me. And I panicked, and I get out of the vision. Heavenly council. He has an office in Westminster Abbey. He's a big guy, but just God says, okay, I need you to be a prophet. Okay, I'm a prophet now. God began prophesying to him. Really powerful, really powerful. I would get near him. So then he gave a sermon, and what his sermon was, that God has made Hong Kong to be a royal diadem in his hand. And I said, oh my gosh, it's like Isaiah, I don't know what verse in Isaiah it is. A royal diadem is a crown in God's hand. How it shows in the video. In his hand was his. That's the vision that I saw when I got near him. So the vision that I saw was actually his sermon before he gave it. Prophecy is contagious. Get near people who are prophesying, and you can prophesy. One guy in America, big meeting, says, I don't have time to prophesy to everyone. I don't have time to lay on hands. I'll do this right here. I'll spread my mantle over everybody, and you're all going to prophesy. So get two partners, get in small groups, get ready, go. And suddenly everyone began prophesying under his mantle. Now this is what Jesus did. No one was spirit-filled and had the Holy Spirit baptism until Pentecost. Yet Jesus had 70 guys at one time go out 2 by 2 to do miracles, signs, wonders, and resurrections under his authority spiritually. They weren't anointed themselves. They were under his covering. Well, I guess you can still do that. That's what happened to this guy. He just spread his mantle over everyone, and we all prophesied. So prophecy is contagious, actually. And hopefully you'll catch it. Not like a virus, but something better than a virus. But But what I want to mention is this kind of hard idea about God. God gives gifts as he wills. And this is in 2 clear verses. Everything is empowered by one and the same Spirit, who apportions to each one individually as he wills. People will say, look, it's God's will, step off. Don't ask. It's up to him, and you don't know what he's doing. Do you have it now? Then you're not going to get it. It's up to him. You didn't get it. Just sit back down again. That's 1 Corinthians 12:18 now. That's 12:11. As it is, God arranged the members of the body, each one as he chose. Did he choose it? You didn't choose it. Don't ask for it. Who do you think you are? This is how people think. That's how they teach, actually. God's chosen it. Up to him. His will. Inscrutable. You're not going to find out what it is. Unknowable. Mystery of God. Are you right now prophesying? No? Then that's all you got. Sit down and be quiet. That's not true. In the same chapter, he says, are all apostles, are all prophets, are all teachers, do all work miracles, do all possess gifts of healing? Plural. Interesting. Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But earnestly desire the higher gifts. Okay, Paul, you just said no, now you're saying yes? What is it? Okay, it's not like that. God will give to people who seek. So seek it, and God will say, what do you want? You want to be a mission to the Eskimos and to the people in New Guinea at the same time, and have church in Russia at the same time, and be a surgeon in Miami. Well, tell you what, you can't do all four at the same time, actually. You got to choose one thing to do at a time. He told me that one time. You can only be in one place at a time. So let me choose for you what you should be doing, and I'll make you a surgeon in Miami. But God, I want to do ministry work. Okay, you'll do ministry work, trust me. But I'm going to make you a surgeon in Miami. So God has this kind of final choice. But what is missing is this idea about how God makes up his mind. Pursue love, earnestly desire spiritual gifts, especially prophesy. To prophesy. I want you all to speak in tongues, but even more, I want you to prophesy. So if you speak in tongue, ask God with the power to interpret the prophecy. You all can prophesy, so you all can learn it and all can be encouraged. Okay? So there needs to be, maybe you must understand both the left and the right and find the middle path. God has an ultimate will, and he has a decision. You're asking God to be a missionary to Indonesia. You can get killed. You can die. You can die from the demons alone, let alone the people. So God may say, you know, for you, being a missionary, being an apostle to the tribes in Indonesia, no. But I will make you a prophet in Calcutta. Okay? Now, God knows that learning a ministry from God takes you a couple years. It's hard. And you don't have that much time, maybe. Maybe it takes you 10 years. So you really can't do both. Maybe you can. Okay, fine. But can you do 3? Maybe I can. I'm an overachiever. Can you do 4? Well, how about 5? How about 6? At some point, you got to realize you can't do everything. And the body is there to do everything that you can't do. So it's not all about you. It's all about you being an overachiever. So be an overachiever. Great. Press on and go for the gold, right? Do everything you can do. But there's always things that you can't do. So the body is there. And so, okay, next video on chapter 1. We're still in chapter 1. I'm going to show you what I think is the best model of faith. It's the daddy, please, please, please. That's the best model of faith that I think. So I'll cut this video off right now. I don't want to get too long. 8+ Splash is the story of my journey. 10 Things on Prophecy is of what I've learned. Foundations of the Kingdom are the 10 or so keys of the kingdom that Christ taught me. It's not about prophecy, but Christ told it to me through prophecy. And it's some of the similar ideas: diversity, unity, training, equipping, leadership, being servants, ministry and demonstration of power. The gospel of the kingdom is not the gospel of salvation. They're separate. They overlap. The empowerment of grace, hearing God's voice, the mind of Christ, which is wild. So, Foundations of the Kingdom. It's also on my website. It's on there. I'm writing the new book right now, and I just hope that it blesses you. So just keep learning, keep seeking God, and he'll keep showing you his way. That's all, okay? God bless you.